Sorry, I'm just waiting for the Aaron Rodgers news to drop. The NFL free agency period has begun, and several major moves were already made by a lot of NFL teams. Some were going to make long-lasting impacts, and some might be considered questionable, but only time will tell to see if these free agency signings actually work out. Folks, welcome back to Fat Folk Sports. My name is Frankie, and today we're going to frank around and find out some of my favorite NFL free agency moves that have occurred so far. Folks, before this video starts, please be sure to hit the subscribe button. Again, it really does help me a lot. And with that, let's get into some of these big, major free agent signings. Starting with the New England Patriots, who have made massive moves. Just like their newest defensive tackle signing, Milton Williams, who, if you can recall, was the one who dealt that devastating blow on Patrick Mahomes, forcing the fumble. In 2024, Milton recorded 11 solo tackles, 5 sacks, and, of course, as I mentioned, that forced fumble in the Super Bowl. Milton had his best season with the Philadelphia Eagles in his entire career, and throughout his career, he has started a total of 67 games, missing just 1 game in 2023. The 6'3", 290 Texas native is only 25 years old and looks to only get better as his NFL career goes on. Milton inked a 4-year deal worth $26 million per year, and the hope for the Patriots is that he can be a long-term solution for a defense that, quite frankly, needs help. Now, the Patriots also added linebacker Robert Spillane and cornerback Carlton Davis along with Milton, and I believe that these moves will help bolster that Patriots defense and potentially get them back to being the championship contender they dream of being. Now, staying in the AFC East, another one of my favorite moves that an NFL team made was by the New York Jets by signing quarterback Justin Fields. Now, Fields and the Jets inked a 2-year, $40 million deal with $30 million guaranteed, and if you can recall from his starting time with the Steelers, he actually played pretty well for the Pittsburgh Steelers, bringing them 4 wins out of 6 games played. Not only this, but Justin Fields brings a dual threat option at quarterback, which was something that they did not have when they had Aaron Rodgers as their quarterback in 2024. Fields also gets to reunite with his college teammate Garrett Wilson, and if you remember anything about their connection when they were at Ohio State, oh man, this has the potential to be something absolutely scary in the pros. Now, Fields does bring some questions within the pass game because of his recent stint with the Chicago Bears as a starter, but if I'm being honest, I don't really blame him all that much considering his protection at the Bears was 0 to none, to say the least. I think a fresh new start at the Jets is really going to help benefit Justin Fields' confidence overall, and should the move work out, Justin Fields is very young and could be a potential franchise guy for the New York Jets moving forward. Now, someone who is on a little bit of the older side for the NFL, Joey Bosa, just recently signed with the Buffalo Bills, and I do love this move for the Buffalo Bills considering they've released veteran Von Miller from the team, who just so happened to play on the same side as Joey Bosa. Now, unfortunately for Bosa, as of recent, injuries have been a problem for the veteran as he has missed 23 games over the past 3 seasons in the NFL. If Joey Bosa can stay healthy, he will be a problem for anyone unfortunate enough to be lined up opposite of him. Now, Bosa, even though he was very limited in the 14 games that he played, still recorded 17 solo tackles, 5 sacks, and 2 forced fumbles during those games, which is impressive considering the fact that he was, as I mentioned, limited in most of those games. If the Bills can get a healthy Joey Bosa, this signing is going to be one that makes the Bills defense so much better. And as I mentioned, he's only 29, so he could play multiple years with the Bills as well. Again, as I mentioned, he's a younger replacement for Von Miller and could be a move should Joey Bosa be able to stay healthy that will help the Bills defense very much more during this NFL season. Now, transitioning out of the AFC East, let's go ahead and move ourselves into the AFC North, more specifically to a team in Baltimore that recently landed DeAndre Hopkins. Now look, I get DeAndre Hopkins is 32 years old, but when you look at the Ravens wide receiver room, outside of Zay Flowers, there isn't really one notable outside of him. So I think having DeAndre Hopkins in that wide receiver room to mentor the younger core is something that could benefit the Ravens in the long run. If there's one thing we learned about the Ravens during this season, more specifically in the playoffs, there are issues in the receiving core. Whether it be drops, miscommunication, something has to improve with the Ravens for them to be able to win. And they need to win now. The window is starting to close for the Ravens. And it's not necessarily because the Ravens are getting worse. It's just because teams around them are starting to get better. With teams like the Steelers, the Bengals, the Chargers, and the Broncos all strengthening, the Ravens need this move to work out in order for them to continue to be a contender and keep the hope alive that they can win a Super Bowl during the Lamar era. Now, Hopkins is coming off a pretty lackluster season for himself, which is 56 receptions, 610 yards, and only 5 touchdowns. But I feel like this is for several key reasons, such as him being underused and undervalued in places like Tennessee. And I think this move to Baltimore is one that will ultimately benefit DeAndre Hopkins, as Hopkins has a great chance to rebound in Baltimore and show the entire NFL that he's still capable of being a top threat in the NFL. The Ravens signed DeAndre Hopkins to a 1-year, $6 million contract in hopes that he can help bring the Ravens to the promised land. Now, my final but most favorite free agent signing was actually an in-house signing involving 2 very major players. And if you could take a guess by what I just said, it is the re-signing of Jamar Chase and T. Higgins by the Cincinnati Bengals. And I'll be honest, at the beginning of the season, I thought that the Bengals had no shot in retaining the 2 players just due to the fact that their owner was reluctant to spend money on star players. But the Bengals and the Brown family have indeed shocked me with this move. Now, as for the numbers on this deal, Jamar Chase agreed to a 4-year, $161 million deal that included $112 million guaranteed, and T. Higgins landed a deal for 4 years, $115 million that is guaranteed for the first 2 years. And I can already tell you that I hear the cheers of joy from Joe Burrow that he was able to retain his 2 top weapons in that offense. The duo between Jamar Chase and T. Higgins rivals that of an A.J. Brown-Devontae Smith duo, and if the Bengals can find some people to protect Joe Burrow within this offseason, whether it be the draft or through free agency, I genuinely believe that this Bengals offense can be one of the most scary offenses to go against in the NFL. And if you don't believe me, this team averaged 27.8 points per game this season. So yeah, the re-signing of these 2 players were 100% necessary. Well, folks, that's gonna about do it for this video. If you liked this video, please be sure to subscribe to the YouTube channel, and of course, hit that like button as well. Now, there are still a lot of questions that are going to be asked throughout the NFL season. Will the free agent signings work? Will they be worth it in the end? And that is not going to be answered until we actually see them play. So all we can do is speculate right now. Once again, folks, thank you so much for joining me today. And I hope that I've helped you frank around and find out a little bit more about some of my favorite NFL free agent signings. See ya!